Hello everyone and welcome to wreckingballmtg.com, or maybe the Gentry Magic website if it goes up there, because we're going to try something new today. Sunday and I am going to record kind of a versus series in the Gentry format. If you're not familiar with the Gentry format, it's something being played quite a lot in Ghent, where we're from. And it's standard, where your entire deck list can only have 15 uncommons and 4 rares or mythic rares that have to be different. It's a really cool format, we really like playing it, and there's actually a pretty big tournament coming up on the 17th of September. And we're testing a little bit, and we decided, like, okay, there's no real video content for Gentry except for the live events, so let's try and record a video series. I'm going to try out something new that I haven't seen played in Gentry, but that I've been wanting to try out for a long time. It's called White-Red Weapons. Basically a really aggressive white-red deck, because everything in the deck is either 1 mana or 2 mana with Surge. These cards are obviously more expensive, but they only cost 2 with Surge. And you have a lot of stuff that works well with equipments. So basically the core of the deck is Weapons Trainer, which gives other creatures you control +1/+0 as long as you control one of these equipments. You don't even have to equip it, you just have to control it. Then Goblin Freerunner, 3/2 Menace with Surge, goes really well with the equipments because it's hard to block, and also because you have so many 1 and even 0 mana stuff in your deck that it's basically a 2 mana 3/2 Menace, which is really good in an aggro deck. As far as 1-drops go, we have Traben Inspector and Town Gossipmonger. And Village Messenger. You can see that we have 6 different werewolves here. That's because flipping Neglected Heirloom into the Ashmouth Blade, where it gets +3/+3 and first strike, is really good. It's almost impossible to lose combat after that. Another one of the werewolves is the Hanweir Militia Captain, and actually I used to have Kithian in this deck, but I don't have Kithian on Magic Online, so I've replaced it by another rare, which is Stonehaven Outfitter, which gives equipped creatures you control +1/+1, and when one of those dies you draw a card. Works really well with the themes of the deck. And then we also have 2 Reckless Bushwhackers as like the top of the curve. You can play, I don't know, a 1-drop, and then into Reckless Bushwhacker you can hit for a lot of damage out of nowhere. Then we have a little bit of removal, not too much, but a little bit in Fire Impulse and Pacifism. And Strength of Arms, which I guess doubles as a creature removal and a burn spell late in the game, gives a creature +2/+2, and if you control an equipment, you put a 1/1 token into play. Then the equipments that we're playing are Bonesaw, which is the best one because it only costs 0, Neglected Heirloom because it's great when you flip it with a Town Gossipmonger, for instance, and a Stoneforge Masterwork. Also taking care to have a lot of similar creature types in this deck. You have a lot of allies, like this is an ally, this is an ally, this is an ally. This is an ally, so actually quite a lot of allies. Even the Bushwhacker is an ally, yeah. And then also you have basically only goblins and humans, so there's some overlap there as well. My final rare slot is invested in a Battlefield Forge, because the weakest point of this deck is the mana base. It's basically 10/10 and then the Battlefield Forge. It's actually 1 or 2 lands too many for this deck, I feel, but because you have such bad mana fixing here, you basically just, I don't know, you have to play like 1 or 2 lands more just to make sure that you get to play your spells. and don't get mana screwed too often. I could play Evolving Wilds in this deck, but I think it's just too slow. You really want your lands to come into play untapped, but I think you'll regularly just, lose games because of the mana, and that's a real downside to playing this deck. I also considered playing for Crumbling Vestige because it gives you any color of mana when it comes into play. So it would be able to cast either of these, either of the white or red cards. But the problem is that I have almost no colorless costs in the entire deck. I basically only have the search costs of these and then the equip costs. And all the other stuff is basically either one white, one red, or one white and one red. So Crumbling Vestige, after the turn it comes into play, can be a real liability. So I decided not to do that. Yeah, I guess that's about it for the main deck. The sideboard is just something I threw together for these matches because I haven't really tested anything yet. It's got Felidar Cubs against enchantment heavy decks like the black-white enchantment deck and Sphinx's Tutelage. It has another Pacifism and a Fiery Impulse against creature decks. It has 2 Borrowed Grace, which is good in both the really racy matchups, where you can pump your creatures, or in the matchups where they have Flaying Tendrils and you can try and protect your creatures. I'm not sure yet if I want Borrowed Grace or Tandem Tactics, which is also very good against Flaying Tendrils, but I guess Borrowed Grace gives me some offensive options as well, so decided to try this. Then I have Impact Tremors against the control decks, where just incrementally dealing them 1 damage, another damage, can sometimes win you the game because they don't really present the clock. And I have the basic Boiling Earth, which I play in every red deck against all the token decks. That's about it. I'll see you in the matches. Curious to see what Sander is playing, and I hope you enjoy the content.